where horror lies.
Just a quick little message before this video slash review begins. Wanted to just give a little shout out of remembrance to the one and only Ruggero Deodato, as you see up there. Perhaps the maestro's greatest film he left behind. And controversial? Maybe if you're one of the journalists that this film was aimed at, perhaps. And I know there are other reasons, but Ruggero, man, 1939 to 2022, 83 years old, man. One of Italy's finest, and saw this on VHS as a kid. Brought it home from the video store, and like many Italian filmmakers, it would leave its indelible mark upon me and for all my life. And so here's to you, Mr. Deodato. Thanks for the memories and all my hopes and prayers. Best wishes to the family as they mourn and grieve this loss. But the man was 83. Lived a good life. Hey guys, Rob from George here with you, aka VHS82 apostrophe. I am your regular Wednesday evening host, have been for as long as I can remember. Wednesday is the day. It is the opening salvo of January, week 480. It is a random week, and thought I would go with a film that has never in the 8 years of Body Bags ever been reviewed. How is that even possible? Of course, we are talking about Buddy Cooper's 1984, The Mutilator. I would have not have seen this in the movie theater even as a 14-year-old. I don't recall it playing, really. My first real memory is probably in the pages of Fangoria, but renting it on VHS. Now, I did see Nightmare on Elm Street when I was a 14-year-old there on the big screen, but I don't recall The Mutilator having a theatrical release. I'm sure it would have had some sort of release, or at least been at the drive-in or whatever. But Buddy Cooper. So what really got me to do this was, if you don't know, Buddy Cooper, 40 years in the making, who would have ever known? The Mutilator 2 is coming our way, man. Same director and a few of the same sets of hands that worked on the first one, absent most of them probably, but and unfortunately I don't believe Mark Sjostrom is part of this in terms of the practicals, in terms of the second one. But the poster's already been released. It is on IMDb, the page. Apparently it is finished and ready for whatever release they are pushing for. Who knows? Streaming, Redbox, theatrical, I doubt it. We'll see how we get it. Physical media, we better. It'll be really nice, man. And Arrow ought to be the one doing it in terms of its physical media release, since they did put out this really fine edition. And if you know anything about it, the old VHS transfers were not great transfers. And then as a kid, I remember having a hard time really understanding, or not really, but knowing all that was going on, and really being able to enjoy Mark Sjostrom's practicals, which are the highlight of this film for sure. But that's the alternative work, or perhaps the original Fall Break work. Not really too sure. Maybe, probably alternative work, as this is what we all know it by. So again, 1984 film, Buddy Cooper. Yeah, I've already mentioned a few of the notables. So, okay, the film. If you've never seen The Mutilator, it is the high point of American slashers. Really, this is a movie that is packed with a lot of, I think it's packed with a lot of heart. I mean, Buddy Cooper says on the extras, one of the extras, that really his struggle was, do I go to film school or do I make a movie? And in the end, some voices around him got him to figuring, you know what, if you really want to be a filmmaker, if this is what you really want to do, just make a movie, because you'll learn more through the process of making the film than you ever will by going to film school. It's an interesting take. there's probably a lot of truth to that. And so he did. And what, man, I'm telling you, he was so absolutely fortunate to have Mark Solstrom, who was at the top of his game. If you don't recognize that name, just think of Evil Dead 2. He worked with K&B. Phantasm 2, Nightmare on Elm Street, really 3 specifically, but a whole slew of films. And I can't remember, he might have even worked with K&B on the horror show. I can't remember though. But really, he was one of the great practical effects artists of the early 80s. And so maybe Buddy Cooper, as well as the cinematographer, did a pretty decent job. That really might have been his greatest advantage, though, making this was and you also learn that in their location shoots in North Carolina, I believe, they did have an awful lot of support from the community at large, and even going as far as beating up the local train as it came through, just because it became problematic with having to stop shooting and then pick it back up again. But the traffic control and everything else, they just got a lot of support from the community. The film, if you've never seen the film, really it's an interesting film. The prologue, if you call it that, the setup, we're introduced to I guess Ed Jr. Ed is a little kid, and apparently Mom has just been putting on the finishing touches to a birthday cake, is preparing for Big Ed's birthday celebration, and Ed Jr.'s gift to his dad is cleaning his rifles in his rifle case. Unfortunately, sitting in the room where the case is, he decides can't hold back. I don't know why he doesn't look in the chamber for a round, but I'm not sure how well Dad is doing bringing him up in terms of knowing how to use a weapon or not, but he does put it right up and pull the trigger, and unfortunately, in so doing, he will shoot and kill his mother. Dad arrives, and let's just say Dad does not take this very well. It is a tragic accident, one that unfortunately we hear way too often about. So skip out years ahead, a couple decades, and Big Ed has a nice little place on the ocean side, right on the beach, and he calls up his son, who happens to be at a bar with his friends, trying to figure out what they're going to use their fall break to do. And he basically has a message left for him that he needs him to go to his oceanfront place and basically close up for the winter. He has not and has left it. And if he doesn't do it, no one will. Hence the reason him and his friends have to go there begrudgingly, because he does not want really anything to do with his dad. It has been a very, very, very tough relationship over the years, as you can imagine. Could be, doesn't have to be, but it is in terms of our narrative structure, right? And so him and his friends, him and his girlfriend and his friends go there, and of course, Big Ed is there lying in waiting, literally, underneath the house with his battle axe, and he is a big game hunter, and I don't know if it's pointed out in the film or not, but the only thing he really has not hunted is humans, and so there you go. He has been waiting to unleash his fury upon his son, and in so doing, he is going to kill off his friends. Now, this is a unique horror film, slasher, in terms of point of view. We see, not only do we get a point of view of the killer, but we see the killer right up front. It's no secret who the killer is. The only great reveal is the reveal left at the end for Ed Jr. in terms of who has been running amok, killing off his friends. It's interesting that at any point in the film, he doesn't just randomly throw up for a thought, I wonder if my dad has finally lost it. But that thought never gets at least shared with us. And so the great reveal then is left to the end for Ed Jr. And so, as us viewers, we know who it is already. And so, we are there to enjoy the shock on Ed Jr.'s face as to what his dad has done. So, no really big, huge surprises. The greatest thing this movie has to offer, it's its practical effects, which there's some great scenes too. This swimming pool scene where Big Ed pulls the one girl under in sort of slow motion capture is pretty intense. The battle axe carnage is pretty good. We've got a boat motor that is used to employ some carnage on one unsuspecting guest. And so, you know, there's a piece of wood right through the head of our local sheriff. I think he's a sheriff, Ben Moore. Pretty sure that's who played him. The cast does pretty good with what they're given. This is really a low budget film. This is the director's really one and only. His directorial debut, but really he didn't go on to make anything else. I don't think this might be it. His only credit, if I remember. Until of course now we're going to get the Mutilator 2, which is going to be interesting. He does hint at early on, at least whenever the documentaries were made, as to the direction that film might take, but wanted to kind of keep it close to his chest, as anyone would, because if you do get a shot to make one, you don't already want to have it out there exactly what the direction would be. And so, kudos to Buddy Cooper. 40 years in the making, is going to deliver a second Mutilator to us. Aside from the practicals, which, you know, if you're just a Mark Shostrom fan, this is definitely, man, worth it. It's not going to get any Oscars, but again, I have heard some people really trash this film, and I just don't understand why. I don't know, man. You watch film to enjoy film, especially early 80s, to enjoy it. And if you don't like it, you don't like it, whatever. But, man, for a movie on a shoestring budget, one that was fortunate enough to have Mark Shostrom aboard, dude, it doesn't get any better than that, man. I mean, I don't know what you want. So the structure of it, the pacing of it, there's kills almost every 5 seconds, it seems like. The locale, again, is great. And I do remember, again, as a kid, renting this on VHS and, of course, reading about it in the pages of Fango. And, of course, they highlighted the one picture. I won't say what it is, but Big Ed's demise. They actually put the picture. So the article must have been post-release, right? And how they did that. And as a kid, learning about that was pretty nifty stuff, man. So here we go. Week 1 of January, opening salvo. Look for the Mutilator 2 by Buddy Cooper. It is coming, will be coming, not sure how. But the film is done. The poster's released, at least its first poster. And we'll see what we get. But Mutilator, if you haven't seen it, check it out. And an early Happy New Year to each and every single one of you. Be on the lookout as my dogs are on the prowl. New Year's Eve, and wishing each and every single one of you just an awesome, awesome New Year. As always, we leave these things off with Go Bills.
This is not a dream.